Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another listening and learning session. This is January 2017, so Happy New Year, everybody. And this month, we're at Sunnycrest Village. It is a place where you've got an incredible number of active generation folks. They are engaged in their government, they're engaged in their city, and they wanted to engage me once again. Early on in my term as mayor, I came out to Sunnycrest and I had a really good dialogue with all of you, and now I'm back, so it's good to be here. For those of you who are wondering, Sunnycrest is out by the Empire Mall. It's on the west side of town, about a mile to the west of the Empire Mall. And so really looking forward to this. One of the biggest listening and learning sessions maybe I've ever been a part of. So first of all, thank you, Sunnycrest, for doing this for me. Again, there's really no rules. You can ask me anything that you want. You can even scold me if you want. But I'm really here for you. So why don't we kick it off by, again, it is a new year. 2016 was maybe one of the biggest and maybe best that we've had in our city, maybe in our history. As you probably have heard, we broke our city's construction record for the fourth straight year. For the very first time in our city's history, we did over $700 million in new construction. And there's building going on everywhere, north, south, east, west, in the middle of our town. In downtown is growing very rapidly as well. A lot of people moving into town. There are. We're estimating around 3,000 to 4,000 people move into Sioux Falls every single year. I'm originally from Yankton, so what that means is that about every 4 years, we add a city of Yankton onto Sioux Falls. So I mean, that just kind of gives you a flavor of how fast we're growing. And it's a combination of folks. You know, people looking for a great place to raise their family. People looking for a great place to work. But also, it has become a retirement hub extraordinaire. In fact, as you folks know, a couple of years ago, we were named one of the top 5 retirement communities in all of America. Top 5. And of the 5, we were the only one that has snow. That was it. So we must be doing something right here in Sioux Falls to get folks that want to, retire. If they want to come to Sioux Falls and we have snow and wind and bugs and rain, we've got all that, and you're still willing to retire here, that's a big deal for us. And we certainly are becoming a place where people of the active generation want to be. And so this will be an engaging conversation, and I look forward to it. We've tackled a lot of things. We're still investing in infrastructure. I just broke ground on the city administration building, the new one. That'll be done in a little over a year. We opened up our new indoor pool. That is now open, and it's really busy, as you can imagine. We've got, a lot of good things. The new event center was just named the 88th busiest event center in the world. Very good. Who said world? Very good. In the world. Can you imagine that? That's how busy our event center is when it comes to touring events. It's the 88th busiest in the world. So I think that just goes to show that people in this area, they're looking for things to do, and they're willing to, certainly go to the event center to enjoy those, and so we're blessed. We certainly have our challenges too. We do. When you grow as much as we're growing, you do need to keep one step ahead of that growth. And you do, because again, can you imagine adding a city of Yankton onto your town every 4 years? That's everything from more police, more fire, more water, more sewer, more roads, more libraries, more parks, more schools, more of this and more of that. So we do have to stay ahead of that growth, and that's always a challenge. Crime. Let's talk about crime just a little bit. It was just reported in the Argus Leader just the other day that South Dakota, we have had the most crime in South Dakota that we've ever had. And it's not just it's not just South Dakota as a whole. That includes Sioux Falls. There are more challenges that we're facing as cities, as towns, as states. There are more and more challenges. The biggest challenge, the biggest cause for that increase in crime, does anybody want to take a guess what that would be? Drugs. Very good. Very good. And what drug in particular do you think? Very good. You've been paying attention. Nice job. And your name, please? Alice Ann. Alice Ann said meth. Methamphetamines. That is the number one drug of choice right now. And it really is a frightening drug, because if you try it once, you are hooked. And it's really, really hard to give somebody therapy to get them off. But worse yet, once you do it, you feed that habit. You need to get more of that drug to get that high. And it's really, really a challenging thing. But it's not just meth. Opioid abuse. That's, again, another challenge. Opioids are like painkillers, for example. Things like heroin. Those are also some challenging drugs. So drugs, alcohol, those things, those have been challenges for generations. And I think the thing that we have to understand is that we have to do the things that we can to not only react proactively, but certainly reactively as well. And so we're doing that. Sales tax revenues, we pay for things in Sioux Falls really in two ways. Sales tax revenues, whenever you buy something, there's a tax that's added to it. And then property tax revenues. That's the amount that you pay based on your property or your ag values, whatever it would be. In Sioux Falls, those values are going up. Okay? The revenues are going up. That's a good thing, because it pays for everything that we need in town. However, they're not going up at the pace that we would like. Okay? And so what that means is that we do have to be, just like you would be in your house or in your church or whatever it would be, you do want to be more cautious, more conservative in your spending. And so really last year in 2016, we did that in Sioux Falls, and we're kicking off 2017 that way as well. So again, we've got plenty of opportunities, but we also have challenges that we face, as a city as well. And regardless, I love it. I've got about a year to go, a little over a year and 4 months. And I still got plenty of energy. I love this gig. I love engaging the people that I serve. And so don't worry. I've been doing this now for, as you know,
yes,
sir. 7 years as your mayor. And then I did it another year prior to that when I was trying to be your mayor. So I really enjoy these engagements. So let's have some fun. Who has got the willingness to ask me my first series of questions? Okay, go. We'll need that. Yes, 1 second, please.
I gotta get here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. You gotta use both of them.
Oh, both of them.
You just talk and I'll hold.
Okay.
You just
Here, I'll
talk.
tell you what.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Yeah.
let's do this. I'm going to give you that. Thank you. Go right ahead.
I don't know how many of you may know about Mayor Mike's involvement with veterans. And the ceremony we do every September, which he has supplied, how many? Lost the word. Anyway, very strong supporter. So this is yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's not how well, very good. Thank you. One of the things that I think that folks need, and first of all, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. And thanks for service. Thank you.
You can have that.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Jane, I'm going to give you that.
Okay.
We are blessed in many, many ways. We've got a lot of service women and service men that choose to live in Sioux Falls. And it is something that I really, really value. I can't get to all the events, but I try to go to as many of the events as I can. The VA hospital, the Veterans Hospital here in Sioux Falls, you know, you hear about challenges all across the country when it comes to VAs and VA hospitals. You don't hear about that in Sioux Falls. We really do a good job here trying to, you know, keep our veterans healthy, trying to keep them safe, and trying to give them the care that they need. Now, it's not perfect, but we certainly are blessed here in Sioux Falls. So thank you very much. I'll wear that shirt with pride, and thank you for...
You've lost weight, so it might be too big for you.
Well, I love it. I love it. And that is, the comment was, Mayor Mike, you've lost some weight, so it'll be good for you. I actually am purposely trying to lose some weight. As I get older, I'm trying to, you know, stay in as good a shape as I possibly can. So one of the things you folks don't know, you know, I get up at about 5:25 in the morning. I make a cup of coffee, I read the paper, and then I go work out. And I work out in my basement. Cindy and I, that's where we work out. And the reason being is that we used to work out at other facilities, but then we could never get a workout in because everybody just wanted to talk to me. And so, yeah, I am trying to stay healthy. I ran a half marathon just a couple months ago in Omaha, and I really feel good. But I'll tell you one thing that I never take for granted is my health. My father, Earl, we just celebrated his life on Friday. And he passed at age 83. And he ended up with Alzheimer's. And so the end of his life was not as dignified as we were hoping, and certainly but it was in God's hands. And we celebrated his life on Friday. And I'm trying to stay as healthy as I can. It's a very, very challenging job, but I love it. But mentally it's challenging, physically it's challenging, and so I try to stay in the best shape I can. So thanks for noticing that I've lost some weight. My wife will be very happy.
Good.
The event, thank you. Thank you. Other questions, please, anything? Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you. Gee, we'll go over there.
Yep, I'm a-coming.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, we need to use both of them, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
And one
Do
in
you
each.
want to hold them? Yep, that's fine.
Hi, I appreciate you coming.
You're welcome.
And all the things and wonderful, you know, an indoor swimming pool, the event center, all of that, and people moving into our town is all great. But I wonder if we don't forget the people who need low-cost housing, which we have very, very little of.
Yep.
And our homeless population. We shouldn't have homeless people here. And I'm just wondering, are there plans to offer something so that low-cost housing can be built, apartments?
Yes. And your name, please, your first name.
Kathy.
Kathy, thank you. Kathy is spot on. Affordable housing is always a challenge, especially in a growing community. What happens is that as more and more people are moving into your city, what that does is it creates more and more of a demand for housing. And so everything really elevates in price in terms of where you're going to live. Something that maybe was a bit more affordable, maybe even a bit run down or used, those get purchased, and then they, whoever was living there has to find another place to live, but the rents went up, the leasing went up. And that has happened in Sioux Falls in a big, big way. We created more apartments last year, more places to live last year, maybe than at any time in our city's history. But again, we still have people who are looking for an affordable place to live. And that is really, really challenging. It is. We actually put more money into affordable housing programs than we've ever done before. We have. We've made a very, very concerted effort to do that. But it's still not enough. And we have that issue not only in Sioux Falls, but all across South Dakota. If you're in a city in South Dakota right now, Yankton, Brookings, Aberdeen, Watertown, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, whatever it would be, affordable housing is one of the biggest challenges that you face. It is. And we are continuing to face that reality here in Sioux Falls all the time. So what we do is, again, we're putting more and more resources towards affordable housing, towards things like rental assistance, towards things like heating assistance, towards things like we offer incentives for landlords to update their properties or to rehab them. But still, it's always a challenge. It is. And then you go an even a step that's even more challenging is dealing with the homeless. Okay? And I think that there's a perception of what homeless is. You know, it's some guy who's, who drinks too much and is just sitting out there in the back alley and needs a place to live. And it's our own dang fault. No. Homelessness is dramatically different in terms of what the reality is. It's that divorced mom with 3 kids who's trying to find a place for them to stay. And so for the time being, they're living with a friend, sleeping on the couch or sleeping in the basement, or they're living with a family member. That is also someone who is homeless. Veterans. We've got veterans that have served our country admirably, okay? But there may be some challenges that they have. And so now there are veterans who actually prefer to be on the streets than they do inside. There's some, and so again, you don't want to leave them out there in the elements. You want to get them help. You want to get them the support that you need. And so that's why you've got programs in Sioux Falls to deal with that. Then certainly you do have those homeless that are not only challenged income-wise, but also maybe they have some challenges certainly with things like mental health, things like alcoholism, things like drug abuse, or they had some challenges. A health challenge came up and grabbed them, and now they went from living in a house to now they're living on the streets. What I'll mention is that certainly we do have people that are homeless in Sioux Falls. But I'm going to come back just a little bit. I don't know if you're going to find another town in America that offers the programs that we do for people that are homeless, for people that are in need. We are a wonderful community when it comes to being a good steward, giving our time, giving our talent, giving our treasure to people in need. But sadly, it's still not enough. It's still not enough. And so you find that balance. How do you, especially in these cold winter months, how do you protect all these human beings that God brought here on earth? How do you protect them? How do you give them a warm shelter, some food to eat, provide them some safety or at least some confidence that when they wake up the next day, it's going to be a good day. And in Sioux Falls, I think we're doing that in a grand way, but there's still more and more things that we need to do to make that happen. So what I'll mention is that, we certainly know it's a challenge, but at the same time, we are doing a number of things to help. We are. But homelessness is not going away, folks. It's not. Affordable housing challenges will never go away. especially in a town that is booming like Sioux Falls. But it is still something that we still want to aggressively address. So, any comments on that?
Yes, sir.
I guess I read it in the paper, but how the teachers in the schools report
Yes.
how many homeless children there are, and I don't think any of us realize that that just goes on every day.
Yes.
And that also it isn't, we can't just dump on our city the problem, and we don't. There's so many churches and other organizations that actively help those people who are in need.
Good job. Thank you. And that's probably a comment that I'd like to make to all of us, and that is, if we rely on government to solve all these challenges, you're sadly mistaken. You can't. You can't. It truly does have to be people that that are private citizens, that are businesses, and yes, that are churches. I mean, I value the church community at the highest level. But can you only imagine if we took these over 200 churches that are in the city of Sioux Falls right now and had them do even more to support people that are in need? Okay? I don't want to ask everybody what they're donating every Sunday at church. I don't want to ask everybody, what they're donating to the banquet, or to the Bishop Dudley, or to the Good Shepherd, or to the Helpline Center, to the Salvation Army. But these are all places that are still in dire need of more support. Again, if everybody's waiting for government to take care of everybody, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it's getting more and more challenging. It is. And you folks know it. Oh, you know it. The federal government, I mean, they're broke. It's broke. I mean, no one's and for us to someday find a balanced budget, we're going to have to really make some tough choices. And everybody is willing to make a tough choice as long as it doesn't impact them. And that's the really challenging part. And one of the other things too that I think is so hard for us to understand is that nothing is free. Someone's got to pay for it. And that's it's just such a hard thing. And at least you live in a state of South Dakota that has a balanced budget. Governor Dugard and his team, they should be praised for balancing that budget. In the city of Sioux Falls, you have a balanced budget. We actually have a reserve, or a big fat piggy bank, okay? And in that piggy bank, there's at least 25% of our annual expenses, operating expenses, that are in that reserve. You're not going to find many cities that have anything like that. So again, we're making tough choices. We are making some people mad because we can't do everything for everybody. But at least you've got a nice, stable government as well that's financially sound. So thank you. I commend you for your comments. Other comments?
Mike?
And if we are going to make this more efficient, if you've got a question, can I ask you a favor? Could you raise your hand so that our moderator will get there, then we can just go to the next question, okay? So we'll do that as well. So I've got a couple questions over here, and that'll work out perfectly. So thank you. Thank you so much. Please.
Yes, my question is about paratransit.
Yes.
I just got my review, but I'm with conditions.
Yes.
And the conditions are, in the wintertime, I can't drive it unless it's 30 degrees or below.
Yes.
Or snowing. In the summertime, I can only ride it if it's raining or 90 degrees or above.
Yes.
Or I have to take the bus, city bus. I do not feel comfortable in sitting down there by myself waiting for a bus
Yes.
at my age.
Yep.
Now, what can be done with that?
Well, And I am right in the middle. Joel, get this one. I'm right in the middle of a group of people that I knew a question like this was going to come, because it came at Sunnycrest when I was here last time. And it happens every time I go to an active generation community. But it's also one where I need you to understand, what did we just get done talking about? You know, tough choices, balancing your budget. Things can't be, you know, things aren't free. Okay? I'm going to give you some numbers. And again, I'm probably going to make your first name, please?
Sandy.
Sandy. I may make Sandy mad, but I just want to give her some idea of what we're talking about here. My mom, she taught me to care for everybody at the highest level, regardless of your race, your color, your sex, your religion, whatever it would be. So when we talk paratransit, it's really hard, because I want to offer good rides, good transportation to everybody, okay? Especially as we're getting older, or if we have challenges such as we're in a wheelchair or we're blind or things like that. But now, Sandy, let me give you some idea. It costs the City of Sioux Falls $28 for a one-way ride on paratransit. $28. Guess what we charge? $3. $3. So how does that work? You can't do that very often. In government, if you're going to sustain a growing city. And so that again is, as much as we want to provide rides to everybody, the numbers don't work. They just don't. It costs us $28 and we charge $3, okay? And that's that challenge that we face as a community. You know, what are those tough choices we're going to make? We have people that are moving into our town that are used to public transportation. They're used to riding a bus. They're used to taking a subway. They're used to taking public transportation. We've not been able to expand our public transportation in Sioux Falls for years, because half of the dollars that goes towards public transportation goes to paratransportation, to paratransit. So we're challenged, Sandy, in that we want to grow paratransit. We want to grow public transportation. The federal dollars that used to come to us for transportation, they are gone. The state, they don't give us money for transportation. So really, it's the City of Sioux Falls, the taxpayers, that ultimately are trying to figure this out. And I'm also going to make some of you mad, okay? Because I've seen the numbers. And I said, at a minimum, we've got to at least charge more for that paratransit ride so that it at least makes some financial sense. And the city council won't do it. They won't do it. And so again, we have more folks like you, Sandy, all the time who say, I want more options. I want more opportunities. But we can't do it because the numbers are so out of balance. And it's really hard for me to say that. You know, it's like the homelessness issue. It's like the affordable housing. It's like the healthcare challenges. It's like paratransit. It's all these things. We all want them because it'll make our quality of life better. But the issue is we don't want to pay for them.
Why don't you use some of the reserves?
Good job. Let's talk about that. No, that's a great question. Thank you. Would you ask?
Why don't you use some of the money in the reserves?
Very good. Love it. Love it. And that was a great question. And your name, please?
Elsie McBride.
Elsie. Elsie said, so Mayor, why don't you use some of the money in your reserves? I love that. I love that. What we do is we have a goal in Sioux Falls. And that goal is we want about 25% in reserve for that rainy day, for that ice storm, for that big emergency that's going to happen, for those downturns in the economy that are going to come. And you know they come. You know that, folks. It's not always an economy that goes like this. It goes like this, and then it goes like this. So, Elsie, we have these reserves to protect our city from those financial downfalls or downturns that can happen. And so again, it's just like you did in your home, Elsie. It's just like you did in your business, on your farm, in your church. Okay? You had to make tough choices in terms of what you're gonna spend your money on. Okay? And in a city of about 180,000 people, everybody's got a choice that they want us to spend money on. And so we're trying to find that balance. And so, Elsie, your question is very appropriate. But right now, we're right at about that 25% level. And so we don't want to go any lower than that. We just had the ice storm just a couple years ago. We just had the downturn in the economy just a couple years ago. We still have to pay for roads and sewer and water and police and fire and all these things. And so we're trying to do the same thing in Sioux Falls just like you did in your home, Elsie. But it's hard. It's hard. And I know because that's why I've been doing this, and it depends on which group I go in. They'll say, well, Mayor, we want you to do this. And then I have to explain to them, we're trying, but at the same time, we do have to make tough choices, just like all of you have done your entire life. Yes, thank you. A follow-up? Yes. No, go right ahead. No, that's fine. Thank you.
What really kind of upsets me too is when I see, an elderly person, but they can walk. I can't.
Yes.
They can get in and off the bus just fine. I can't without getting on the ramp. That's very disturbing to me. I thought it was for the elderly and the handicapped paratransit.
Well, and that's why now we do an evaluation of every single paratransit rider, okay? We do that evaluation to try to find the most appropriate use of those resources. And it's not a perfect science, but you can't imagine how much at least it's been, I guess, I'll say cleaned up a bit from where it was. And our paratransit drivers, they also know if there's potential abuse going on too, and they'll let us know that too. We are trying to get as many people that we can to use public transportation, okay, versus paratransit. We are. But we also know that we do have paratransit needs as well.
Yeah. Well, they had me try and get on a bus down when I got certified 3 years ago. And it's very hard to get on the bus with something like this.
Yes.
I can't with my manual wheelchair at all. But just because I'm in this shouldn't disqualify me from riding paratransit.
Yes. Yep. And I think that's why this is a listening and learning session too. So you do have those are great comments, and you are not alone in your thoughts. You're not. There's other folks who think the exact same thing. But again, we're trying to find that balance. How do we offer more services to you and at the same time meet the demand of the people who want more bus service? Because right now, here's the reality, and would you take those over there? Did anybody have a question over here? A couple? Great. Why don't we'll stay here. Here's one of the realities is that, she's got one right there. Here's one of the realities is that you are kind of almost held hostage in terms of where you can live if you want paratransit, okay? Because we've got people that if you don't live within a certain boundary of Sioux Falls where we offer paratransit, you can't use it. The same thing with public transportation. We only go out so far on our boundaries. So in a way, you're almost held hostage. You go, Mayor, I want to live farther outside of town. But you can't. if you rely on public transportation or paratransportation. And so we want to expand out. We do. We want to go further out in our ever-growing city, but financially we can't do it. Okay? Good job. Thank you. Yes.
I was wondering about our quality of our water,
Yes.
because, you know, that one state that had so much trouble, is our water clean, and are we going to keep it clean?
Hallelujah. And thank you. And Gene, there's some others around here too. You've got the water you're drinking here at Sunnycrest and all across Sioux Falls, maybe some of the best water that you're going to find. It is wonderful water. And not only is it good quality and good tasting, but we've got a ready supply of water. One of the biggest wins that I think our city's made in a long, long time was when they made the decision to be part of the Lewis and Clark water pipeline. Okay? That was a wonderful thing, especially as water is becoming more and more of a precious resource. Okay? So yes, the Big Sioux River, okay, the Big Sioux River, that aquifer is our primary source of water, but we also get water now from the Lewis and Clark pipeline as well. That's taking water. So yes, you've got a very, you can drink as much water as you want. It's safe, it's clean, it's tasty, and it's available.
What about the pipes?
Very good. The pipes, the question was, what about the pipes? And I love it. You should run for city council. and I mean it.
I can only walk.
Well, I love it. Because what she's concerned about are things that are really important. Because, you know, it's so easy to care about the fun stuff, okay? But you got to care about the stuff below the ground too. And what we found is that there's challenges below the ground. Remember when I was first elected? We had that big sanitary sewer line collapse up by the prison. I don't know if you remember that. Well, after that we got through that, we went and took a picture of all of our sewer lines to find out where the weaknesses are. And we found them, okay? And it was not good. And the same thing with water lines. You need to protect the things that are below the ground too. And they're unbelievably expensive. We've got cities and towns all across South Dakota, all across the state, that are not paying attention to the stuff that's happening below the ground. And you want to know why? Money. Thank you. Thank you. Money. Remember what I said? No one wants to pay for it. No one wants to pay for it. And folks, we have to. We have to. And you're going, well, you know, I'm not going to use it anymore. I don't have to pay for it. No, we're all using it. We're all responsible. We have to take care. There are pipes all across South Dakota that were built with concrete. And you can only imagine how long that concrete is going to last. It doesn't last forever. And so yes, in Sioux Falls, we've been making a concerted effort not only to fix the infrastructure above the ground, but really a concerted effort to fix the stuff below the ground too. Good job. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Speaking of money, what do they do with this money that is picked up from these drug busts? Does that stay in the county, state, or federal? Or?
You know, I've been doing this for 7 years, and I don't know if I've ever been stumped like that.
It's never publicized.
I am embarrassed. I don't know the answer to that. You know, what happens to the money that happens from the drug bus, that we get from the drug bus?
Yeah, what does?
I don't know. I'm embarrassed. But I will find out. And I'll let the Sunnycrest folks know, Gene, so then you can let everybody know. Just put it on the board. But what a great question. But I will tell you this, we are doing more drug busts than we've ever done.
Yeah, they put it to good use, build a new house for apartments for people.
Or hire more police officers so we can do more drug busts. Yes. But thank you for that question. I'm so sorry. Yes. Sir. Gene, please.
One or two first, I think.
Thank you. Oh, you got one here? Okay, go ahead. All right. Arlene, how are you?
Hi, Mike. I'm
Good to
fine.
see you.
See, I have a question. I think you do a good job, but I want you to help me understand why this city administration building wasn't put on the ballots.
Sure.
Because to me, we will use it. It shouldn't have just been left to you guys to make that
No problem.
choice.
No problem. And Arlene, I think it's a fair question, but the answer is because we are making decisions every day on behalf of the citizens that we serve. That's what you've elected us to do. If we put everything on the ballot that we spend money on, we wouldn't get anything done. It passed the city council. The mayor signed it. It then passed the city council again after I vetoed it. And so, again, there's all these decisions that we make as leaders. Some folks are going to agree with, others are not. Okay, but I will tell you this, every time we make a decision, every single time, at least 4 out of 10 of you are mad at us, every time. But this is one where the last time we built a city administration building, the last time, because remember folks, what we were just got done talking about, the pipes and the roads and the sewer lines. Remember we talked about every now and then you have to invest in those if you're going to keep up in your city and your town. The last time we built a building in this town was 1935. 1935. Elvis was born in 1935. The Social Security Act was signed in 1935. Who was our president in 1935? Yes, very good. Franklin Roosevelt was our president in 1935. The WPA was in 1935. Dust Bowls, 1935. Okay? The city of Sioux Falls, we were pretty small back in 1935. Arlene, that was the last time that we built a building for the citizens of Sioux Falls. 1935. That was City Hall. City Hall. The last time we built a City Hall was 1935. Folks, every now and then you've got to keep up with your city. And we just felt that it was a high time to maybe build a building not only for our employees, but also for our citizens. Okay? It'll make it more efficient, more productive, more service friendly, and here's the kicker. It'll still be here 100 years from now. Okay? No, that's right. You won't be here, and I won't be here. But can you imagine the leadership, the vision that it took back in 1935? Remember 1935? It wasn't a boom town in America in 1935. It wasn't a boom town in Sioux Falls either in 1935. Can you imagine the guts, the leadership that it took by those citizens, by those leaders back in 1935 to do something for their community that they thought was important? Well, they did it. And we did the same thing. And I'm really proud of it. I just wish we would have done it 5-10 years ago, because that's what, we ended it then. So Arlene, I know you respectfully disagree with me on that one, and I think that's okay. But it was just time. It was just time, and it didn't go to a vote because it was not done appropriately. Who do you think? Absolutely. Absolutely. Taxpayers, just like paratransit, just like sewer and water lines, just like libraries, just like police, just like fire, just like everything. The taxpayers do it. That's exactly right. And that's the thing, is that we make these tough decisions as elected leaders, knowing full well that not everyone's going to agree with the decisions that we make. And that's why it's important to actually get people to run that you think will represent you well, and then certainly vote in the leaders that you think will represent you well as well. So good job. Thank you. That's a tough question, but a good one. Thank you.
Mayor, there's been just some discussion about crime prevention today.
Yes.
And tonight, there's going to be an important discussion about Glory House, I believe, at the city council meeting.
Yes.
Wonder if you could elaborate on that and tell us what that's all about, and what, if it's a 4-4 vote, where are you going to go?
Well, first of all, I just found out about it this morning, and so I don't know all the detail on it. And from what I understand, the team, the city team, the executive branch side, found out about it Thursday night. So I don't want to speak blindly about what the proposal is, because I've not engaged the counselor who is bringing it forth, okay? So I want to be cautious in my comments, not knowing exactly what it's going to be. However, there's been some discussion about taking an existing building that we have, it's called an ice and recreation center, and to donate that land and to donate that property to the Glory House. And the Glory House is a facility that helps take care of people that have, I think, committed crimes, and now they're done with their sentence, and so they try to help them lead a more productive life. Okay? In terms of my vote, I don't tell anybody how I'm voting until I vote. Okay? Sorry. I think that's the appropriate thing to do, and I'm certainly not going to tell you how I'm going to vote because I just found out about it. For me to tell you one way or the other, it would not be fair to the person who's bringing it forward, because I don't know enough about this particular topic yet, but I think the dialogue will start tonight. Yeah, I think that's a very appropriate question. Thank you. Well, now she's very good. Thank you. I want to come back just quickly. I'm going to come over by. Tell me what your thoughts are on that.
My thoughts?
Yes.
Well, it's a property that's been on, right on 49th Street, and supposedly we're going to be building a 49th Street through that property. And I was wondering, there hasn't really been anything done to promote 49th Street going through there yet. And if they're not going to, why don't they just give that property
Very good.
to...
Very good. Well, maybe I can just give you some up. The reason 49th Street hasn't been completed yet is because we have to fix the intersection first on Minnesota and I-229. Okay? I don't know how many of you folks still drive, but if you go to that intersection there on Minnesota Avenue and 229, along with that street that this gentleman's talking about, it's already a jumbled challenge to get from point A to point B. So we certainly don't want to make another thoroughfare on 49th Street until that intersection there is fixed or is redone. And those interchanges, those aren't our decisions. Those are decisions that we make with the help of the state and with the federal government. Okay? So that's why you're not seeing that 49th Street completed by now. Okay? As for other things, there's plenty of other, it's a very, very valuable piece of property. But we just turned it just went vacant a couple of years ago. So it's only been a couple of years. Because if you remember, now we've got the Shields Iceplex. When that opened up, that's when we closed the Iceplex down. So it's been about a year and a half. So it's not been a long time. Yeah, but good job. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Could I have some water? Thank you. Water. Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I am very thankful for paratransit.
Yes.
And I know that when people look at me and say, why are you riding paratransit? They don't know or cannot see what the problem is, because not all of the people that ride paratransit are in wheelchairs, and I have got artificial joints that are not available, but it is on the doctor's orders that I not drive myself when it is icy and those type things. And that for that reason, I do have paratransit, and I am very, very thankful
Thank you.
for it when I have to go to the doctor or anything like that.
Thank you.
Because with artificial joints, you don't want to fall.
Oh, yeah. Well, I fell last night going into a restaurant. I did. Cindy and I went to a movie last night, and we got done with the movie. I dropped Cindy off at the restaurant. I parked my truck, and I fell going into it was so icy last night. It was. So, no, I fully, first of all, thank you for the thank you about paratransit. These are all government services.
Because, I mean, I do not abuse it.
No, I respect that.
Because I can still drive.
Yes.
And I do still drive.
Thank you.
But if it is icy, doctor has ordered me not to try and drive when I can use paratransit, and they know that in the office. And that is what I am very thankful for, because I get so nervous if I have to drive on ice or in bad weather.
Thank you.
And I am very thankful for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. As I was mentioning, all these services that the city provides, whether it be Sioux Falls or South Dakota or United States government, most people are thankful for the services that they get. And the last thing we want to do is take any of them for granted, especially in just as you just mentioned. You don't take them for granted. You really you're thankful for them. And when you need them, you need them. So thank you. Thank you. Good job. Yes. Thank you.
When are you going to redo Terry Avenue?
Redo Cherry Avenue. Sure. All of the roads, remember how we took, was it Elsie? Elsie, remember I told you we took a picture of all of the sewer lines, for example, so we know where our weakest points are in the sewer system. We've done the exact same thing with our roads. We've actually taken a picture of every single road, including Terry Avenue, every single road in our city, and then we've given it a rating. Because what it does is it evaluates not only the ride, it evaluates whether there's potholes, it evaluates its condition, and so then we give it a rating so that we can put those dollars that we've been talking about towards the most appropriate use. We used to do it in what was called a subjective way. Now we do it in an objective way, based on the rating, based on the traffic. And so Terry, I don't know what that rating is, but it's all based on that score that it received.
Well, my hip joints aren't going to take much more of Terry Avenue.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Well, there's other roads in town too that we certainly want to take care of. I don't know what Terry Avenue is on the I don't know where it is on the rating. I don't know where it is on the rating. Yes, so thank you.
Can you find out and get back?
Sure, I can do that too. I'll get back to Jean. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I just have a quick question
No,
for
take
you.
your time. Take your time.
Are you going to go to the inaugural ball Friday and Saturday night?
Oh, very good. Very good. No, I am not. But if I was invited, I would go. In fact, I'd tell that to anybody. If you ever get an opportunity to go to any inauguration, regardless of who the president is, I would encourage you to go. It is an amazing thing. It's America at its finest. We're coming together. We're celebrating our country. And not everybody wins. In this case, it was almost like a 50-50. But still, it's a great country, the best country in the world. And we will celebrate a transition of power just like we do every 4 to 8 years. Great job. Great job. Thank you. That was the easiest question I've had of the day. So thank you. Where are we at now, Gene? Who's got other questions, please? Yes, thank you.
Since many are interested in the paratransit,
why won't the council raise the price a little so more people?
Well, and I think that's a great question. And again, to defend the council too, okay, it's hard to raise fees on anybody. It is.
It's better than not a ride.
Well, did you catch that? No. Well, what she said is that it's better than not having a ride at all. Okay? And that's why that's one of those balances that you have in terms of the council and I disagree on a couple of things when it involves the transportation. Okay? And again, I grew up with nothing. My mom and dad were divorced when I was in the 5th grade. My dad drank too much. We had no money. I had bad buck teeth. You name it. But as I've grown older, I've also realized that nothing is free. Someone's got to pay for it. I also know the value of some skin in the game. You know, the council and I disagreed on whether we should have free bus fares for kids. Okay? I disagreed with that. Again, because we have a financial situation that we've not addressed for a long, long time. The numbers are going the opposite way. And I've got people like you who want more services, not less. You want more options, not less. You want, more hours, not less. All those things. But it's hard to raise fees. We need to repair our roads. We need to repair our sewer lines. We need to offer more services. But someone's got to pay for them. And it's hard. It's hard. No one wants their taxes raised. No one does. And the active generation is probably, the group that says, no, we don't want that to happen because you're dealing with higher costs with medical expenses, housing, all those things. But, you go to the northwest part of South Dakota, for example. They had oil roads. We call them oil in the old days. I still call them oil. Oil roads were like a highway. They were oil roads. Then all of a sudden they got potholes in them. Then all of a sudden they became gravel roads. Now they're mud roads. And now we've got farmers and ranchers that can't get their corn, they can't get their soybeans, they can't get their livestock to market. Because no one wanted to pay for the upkeep of those roads. It's expensive. It is. So that's that balance that we have to make as a community, as a state, as a society. Are we willing to pay for these things that we need or that we want? Okay? I think we needed a new city administration building because we hadn't built one since 1935. I think we need to repair our roads, repair our infrastructure, repair our sewer lines. I think we need to pay for things like more police. I think we do need to do that. Now, then what about the event center, Mayor? What about the, very good. What about the event center, Mayor? Why did we need that? Okay. I'm surprised no one, and who is it? Was it this gentleman? Right. Oh, right here. Okay.
Brings in dollars.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that was, again, not another setup. But again, our current Sioux Falls Arena was built in the 1950s. And, again, we've dramatically outgrown that. And we had people that instead of spending their money in Sioux Falls, they were spending it all over this area. Now, we've got the 88th busiest event center in the world. And when these people come into our town, they're bringing what? Money. They're bringing a purse, a credit card, a billfold, cash, and they're spending it here. And folks, remember, there's only two ways that we pay for things. Only two in Sioux Falls. Property taxes and sales taxes. Okay? So not only is it a good quality of life investment, but it's also an economic development generator as well. But again, we're going to argue as citizens all the time in terms of, well, but I'm not going to use that, so I don't want it. Or I'm not going to drive anymore, so I don't care about that. Okay? Or my kids are out of school, so I'm done paying for schools. We hear that one a lot. Okay? To me, we have to look at the community as a whole. what's good for the community as a whole, what's good for our generations as a whole. And for me, and again, my father, we just laid him to rest on Friday. He taught me. He said, you want to leave things better in the way that you found them. And we do. We do. Our goal in life should be to leave things better than what we had. And I strongly believe in that. I just do. And I've tried to do that as your mayor. And I'm gonna just keep trying to push that because I think it's the right thing to do. So good job. Thank you. Good questions. Let's keep it going. Jean just left me. No, we're going to go to other people. We're going to try to go to one apiece. Thank you.
I'd like to know, what do you do with all the money from parking tickets and
Good.
speeding tickets and all that
Very
other
good.
good stuff?
Very good. Well, there is some money that comes in through fines. There is some, but not as much as you think. So for example, when it comes to parking tickets, that goes back into the fund that helps us pay for more parking lots, and yes, more officers to write more tickets. No, but certainly we do use that. We do use that money to also patrol to make sure that people are parking legally. So yes, and you've got a follow up. Yes, go ahead.
The places where it says wheelchair only.
Yes.
There are so many people that take those spots and they don't have the card or anything.
Well, if you ever see that, anybody
I
in
see
Sioux
it all the
Falls,
time.
if you see it, you can go right ahead and call police or you can call the City of Sioux Falls and we can get someone out there. But we do patrol that. It doesn't happen as much as you may think, but certainly it does happen. It does. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of ADA parking spots, and we can't manage them all. But even like you had mentioned, you really appreciate the opportunity to ride paratransit. There's a lot of people who really appreciate the ability to park at a ADA parking or a handicap parking spot, and how mad we get when somebody abuses that privilege. Yeah, thank you. Good job. Others, please, other questions?
What number do you call? Actually, for police.
Well, if you need police, dial 911.
I mean, in a parking lot, are you going to call 911 just to report somebody
You-
parking and handicapped?
You can call 911 really for anything that is of a nature involving enforcement, but also there's the City of Sioux Falls, things like that too. But if you think it's of that much importance, then certainly call it in. But again, when we see people parking illegally in a handicap parking spot or an ADA parking spot, it's probably not that high of level. But certainly you certainly write that down, and we can certainly follow up with it later on to say, hey, someone said that you parked illegally in that spot, and we'll follow up.
That's what I meant, because many times, I have one in my family, and I've ridden with my sister-in-law, and not in Sioux Falls, but
Yeah.
you've seen it, and they have a handicapped girl, and it's taken.
Yes.
But at the time, you don't have a number on you
Yes.
to call. But I thought 911 was strictly just for emergency.
No,
That's not an emergency.
People. What will happen is when you dial 911, that call gets ranked as well in terms of critical need or importance or whatever it would be. So that one would certainly fall down on the list. But if there's an officer in that area, we'd certainly check it out.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Others? Other questions? Okay, let's go back.
I'd like to piggyback
Did you-
on this stuff Kathy was saying.
Here, let's go right ahead. Thank you. Thanks, Gene.
Kathy was talking about homelessness.
Yes.
And personally, I've known veterans in this town who would prefer to live outdoors. Is the mayor paying attention to me?
Oh, yeah. I can hear you.
If you go up Cliff Avenue, just before Rice
Yep.
Street, there's a railroad overpass up there.
Yep.
And that's been a favorite camping out place for a lot of these guys. They get tents, they get sleeping bags, and they prefer to live outside. I knew a guy with a bicycle, had his little cart tied on behind him, and he carried all his belongings in it. They just prefer it. I don't know why. I think they're crazy, but that's their thing. Through a consortium of 5 different Lutheran churches, there's a program in this town called Food to You Mobile Food Pantry. And it's run, or was run, by one of the few good Democrats I know, Karen Soley. And through that, we interacted with Glory House, the Banquet, and several other places. So they're all good programs. Glory House especially is a very, very good program. So if it comes to consideration, consider hard.
Thank you. Thank you. The again, homelessness is such a challenging thing because where I get most worried as your mayor certainly is during the winter, okay, because of the ability you can die much quicker in 10 below degrees than you can in 90 degrees. But you worry about both. You don't want anybody homeless in your town, and I do think that we are doing a number of things to address it. But sadly, there are folks who pass away in our town, and they were homeless at the time that they did. But yes, in some cases too, you do have folks that are mentally challenged as well, mental illness, and in some cases they do prefer to be outside. Yes, thank you. Or Jean, anybody? We'll go there and then we'll come back. Thank you. Jean, right over there.
I take exception to the one good Democrat.
Well, one thing I've learned too is try to keep politics out of all listening and learning sessions. And so thank you.
Where am I going?
Is there any more over here? Any questions over on this side? Very good. We'll come back over here. Thank you. Steelers fan? Very good. Thank you.
My question again is, paratransit seems to be a pretty popular topic here today. And
Sure. I knew that coming in.
okay. And I drive the bus here. We have a 14-passenger bus here, and we manage to keep that thing full.
Good.
Pretty much all the time. And every time I see a paratransit vehicle pull in up here, it's a 14-passenger or probably more, and I usually see one person getting on it and leaving. And I'm wondering why we don't have smaller paratransit vehicles.
Yeah, and the same thing. I get the same question about public transportation as well. What the city does is they do try to find the most efficient way to move people, and that includes the vehicles as well. Some vehicles you can actually get better deals on, not only short term but also long term, to move people. Some cases we use that bus for one person. Other time it'll be for multiple people. So again, it's that balance that you have. But I am going to touch on something that you said earlier, and that is the bus here at Sunnycrest is really busy. Okay. Well, here's another thing. We've got institutions in town that have the ability to take their own people from point A to point B, and they don't. And in some cases, we've got institutions in town that we've identified that have actually been paid to move people from point A to point B, and they don't. Okay, it's an abuse in the system. So again, that's one of those challenges that we face. Is to me, Sunnycrest, for example, Sunnycrest, that should be part of the deal. If you live at Sunnycrest, part of the deal should be there should be some opportunity to have folks that are residents here get from point A to point B, and maybe have that service. But I will guarantee you one thing: Sunnycrest isn't doing it for free. They're not. My gut says that Sunnycrest isn't doing it for $3 if it's costing them $28. In government today, we are. Okay? And that, again, is that challenge. And again, folks, I knew that this was going to be a hot topic here today, and I respect it. But I also want to give you that perspective that someone's got to pay for it. And right now, it's a very, very, very expensive program, but people value it at the highest level, and they should. But we also want to expand it. We want to do more, and we just can't because it's so expensive. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Others? Thank you. Gene?
All this talk is
Just 1 second, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. Thank you.
all this talk is well and good, but what I'm really worried about is how are our seniors going to be ending up with this new president, and how things are going to go with us? Are we going to lose our money or what?
I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to talk about presidential politics or anything like that today.
I'm not talking about the politics, actually. I'm just worried about how our seniors are going to end up.
Well, I think that what I can do is I can tell you about Sioux Falls. I think that in Sioux Falls, you picked a great place to live. It is one of it's a top 5 retirement community in all of America. Top 5. And let me tell you why. Okay, top 5. And the ratings were done. And remember, I said it was the only one that had snow of the top 5. Okay, number 1, great opportunity to have good health care. Okay, there's almost not better health care around. So you've got great access to really, really good health care here. Another one, available access to jobs. Jobs. The active generation more and more wants to work for a long, long period of time. And in Sioux Falls, we've got the lowest unemployment rate in the entire country at 1.9%. So the active generation or seniors, they've got ready availability of jobs, those who want it. It's safe. It's affordable. And there's plenty of things to do. You know, you got good quality of life here. And, you know, I know that when I said it's affordable, I know some of you kind of cringed, okay? And I respect that. But when you compare it to other communities across the state or across the country, it's a very, very affordable place to live as a senior. So, you know, I'm not going to talk about presidential politics, or I'm not going to talk about the United States government in terms of what could happen. But what I'm telling you is that I think you've picked a great place to live. I really do. Thank you. Yes.
We just owe a vote of thanks to the many departments that responded to the building collapse.
Yes.
A couple weeks or a month ago, I guess.
Yes. Well, I wholeheartedly agree. You know, a bevy of thanks to the departments that jumped in, not only to, you know, save that beautiful young girl, but also to find that beautiful young man. But also a debt of thanks to all the citizens too. I mean, they were praying for their safety. They were cheering us on. You had businesses that were, you know, jumping in, providing, you know, food and beverages and things like that. But it's a very, very good community. Folks, I've had 7 emergencies since I've been your mayor. 7. And I haven't been your mayor yet for 7 years. But one thing I'll mention is that regardless of the emergency, we handle it very, very well here. And every single time we get smarter. We get better so that we're ready for the next one. And there will be another one. You know that. You know that. There's whether it's we've had 3 100-year rain events since I've been your mayor. We've had 1 300-year rain event since I've been your mayor. And we just had our first 1,000-year rain event since I've been your mayor. You know, we've got these monster storms that are hitting us much more frequently, okay? But we're ready. We're ready. The ice storm, that was the biggest challenge that we faced weather-wise as a city, the ice storm. But we were ready. And we didn't need the federal government to jump in right away and save us. We were ready to go. We took care of things, and it turned out very, very well. The building collapse. You know, we've had 7 emergencies since I've been your mayor. But Ethan's the first person who has passed away on my watch during an emergency. And so we'll learn from that too. You live in a great community, folks. You are safe here. Very, very good quality of life here. We have people moving in here in droves because they know what we've got here. I know there's people in this room, some of you would wish that we'd kind of go back to the way that it used to be. That's not going to happen. It's just not. But what I can tell you is that regardless if I'm your mayor or someone else is your mayor, we've really got good government here where we balance our budgets well. I think we prioritize well, and we really serve the citizens well. And we don't lose where we came from. We just don't. We still got that Midwestern work ethic, that Midwestern bloodline where we're more frugal, we're more prudent, we're more responsible, we help each other out. But we also know, and you folks know it, we can't save everybody. People are going to make mistakes, but we'll do the best that we can. And we'll really celebrate this great town that we have. So, folks, any other questions? I know I'm between you and the coffee. Yes, thank you. Here you go, right here.
She wants to know when it be televised.
Oh, okay, very good. It is televised on, you folks watch, is it Channel 16 here or what? Yeah. Channel 16 or 594? 594 or Channel 16. It's called Listening and Learning Session. And what they run it at various times for a couple of months. And you can get, you just get the schedule by going to siouxfalls.org. Yeah, Gene, so thank you. Yeah, it's been a great program. Tough one. And I knew it was going to be a challenging audience, and I love it. I love it. And so, come on, any more tough questions for me? Anything? Yes. Oh, this gentleman's been very patient. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much.
We take the bus pretty well much 5 or 6 days a week. And I don't know how many people know where the Minnehaha County Extension Service is downtown. Go down there sometime into the coffee shop. There's kids in there, well, they're in their 20s and 30s. They're in wheelchairs, walkers, and they take the bus 6 days a week to go down there and work. So when somebody says they can't, go down there to them kids and ask them.
Very
and
good.
You know Skip, don't you?
I don't know if I know Skip.
Oh, okay. No. He rides a bus for 20 years that I know of.
Okay.
And he's so crippled up he can't even walk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for that comment. Others? Any question? Yes, Arlene, go right ahead. 1 second, Arlene, please. Thank you.
Coming. Oh, I'm right behind you.
I want 2 questions.
Sure.
What are you going to do when you're not mayor?
Okay. Well, Arlene, thank you, my friend. Well, right now, I still am your mayor, and I really want to stay focused there. I've got at least a year and 4 months to serve, and I love it. It's been a dream come true. I'm having a blast, but we still have work to do. You know, there's still some issues out there, as evidenced with some of the questions that we had here today. We've got some opportunities. So I really want to stay focused as your mayor. But at the same time, certainly, people ask Cindy and I all the time, you know, what are you going to do next? What I'll tell you is that we don't know just yet. And I'm not trying to be evasive. I'm not. We really don't know. I've been married to Cindy for a long, long time. And I'm very, very blessed by her marriage. And I think the one thing that you folks have to understand is that it's my dream to serve, but it's not Cindy's dream to serve. But we are a couple, and we're in this together, and we'll figure this out together. We will. I do love public service. I do. You know, I was in corporate America for a long, long time. This is so much more rewarding than anything that I did in corporate America. It just is. Certainly, you know, you have some challenges. There's some folks who are going to be mad at you every now and then. But I love it. I just love it. It's been a great thing. And so I do have a variety of options too, which is a real blessing for me too. But right now, I just want to be the best mayor that I can be. I am working out so that I can still run hard and go hard. But I think you've seen it. I take the day that God gives me, and I go about as hard as I possibly can. That's just my style. When my dad Minard passed away, it was my stepfather Earl who we just laid to rest. But when my dad Minard passed away at 65 years of age, that was a real eye-opener for me. That you only get so many days here on earth. And so if I get another day, if God gives me another day, I'm going hard. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's my commitment to you, is that I'm going to go hard if I get another day. I'll do the best that I can. I'll try to explain why I'm saying the things that I'm saying, or doing the things that I'm doing, or recommending the things that I'm doing. You may not always agree, but at least you'll know. You'll know. I'm a little different that way. The easy thing for me to do would be just what everybody else does. And that's just stay away from the people that they serve. I'm not going to do that. That's why I do these listening and learning sessions. Because I want to engage you. I want you to engage me. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what's making you mad. I want to know what's making you happy. But I haven't answered your question because we're not sure yet. But thank you, my friend. You had another question?
Yeah, I do. What is going to be done with all these people that go through these red lights?
Well, not enough, because I'd love to.
We should put them cameras back on.
I love it. That again, I wish we could pick up every red light runner in town. I do. To me, it's one of the most dangerous things that you can do is run the red lights. But, we're taking our police team and we're trying to maximize their value too. And in order to catch a red light runner, you almost need two people. One person seeing the person or seeing the culprit that ran the red light, and then another one to go pick them up. But those red lights, they're very, very dangerous. I mean, I've got a daughter, Kylie. I've got a grandson, George. I've got a son-in-law, David. And I'm always encouraging them, count 1,001, 1,002 before you even proceed because of those red light runners. They scare me to no end. They really do. But, when we catch them, we fine them. But again, you can't be everywhere. You just can't. We got 75 square miles of roads. Can you imagine that? So it's hard to catch everybody, but thank you. Yes, the timers are good. Any others?
I got one more over here.
Okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what, this will be and sir, thank you. Could you tell me your name, please?
Alex.
Hello, Alex. Welcome.
Question near and dear to the hearts of people that live at Sunnycrest.
Yes, sir.
Whatever happened to the snow gates on the motor graders that we heard so much about a few years ago?
Oh, very good. Alex, they are in use at the highest level. Snow gates are something that when I was first elected, I had made a decision to test them. We had tested them for about a year and a half, actually two full winters, because the first year we tested them, there was no snow. So we really didn't learn much. The second year we tested them, what we found is that they are a bit more expensive, but still very productive, very efficient, and yes, not cost prohibitive. So we are using them all over town. And for the most part, I think people love them. Now, there is kind of a misperception. Some people think that snow gate, when it drops, in someone's driveway, for those of you who don't know, a snow gate it's a contraption that's on the snowplow, okay? So it stays up as it's going along the curb, okay? But once it comes to a driveway, it drops. The snow gate drops. And then that snow that normally would go into the driveway, that snow is blocked from entering the driveway. And then when the snowplow driver gets past the driveway, boom, it raises again, and then all that snow goes off. But there is a misperception. Some people think that, oh, there's going to be no snow in my driveway. No. If you've got 5 or 6 inch snowfalls, some of that snow is going to go over the top of the blade, okay? But it's been very, very well received. I would encourage other towns to look at it, but it's not free. It's not free. But it was a quality life investment that I think for the most part people are really, really enthused about. Alex, have you heard that they're not being used?
No, I used to hear a lot about it.
Yes.
But that's all disappeared from radio.
Very good. Yeah, we've been using them now, and they've been very successful. And now, every now and then we do knock down a mailbox. We do. Every now and then we'll miss a cul-de-sac. We do. Every now and then we'll miss, an entire street. We do. But call us, let us know, and we'll come back and we'll fix it. We're getting better. And yeah, what's interesting now with all these computers and all this technology, we can actually analyze, where we were at a certain period of time, how fast it took us, how much gas we used, all that stuff. It's just incredible. And so snow gates have been a good investment. So thank you. Thank you. Well, Sunnycrest, you got me good. That's an hour and a half. It went by just like that. And I want to thank you. Again, one of the largest listening and learning sessions that I've had. And I value it. I don't know if I'll get back here before I'm done being your mayor. I guess I'll leave that up to the Sunnycrest folks, or leave it all up to you. But let me just say thank you. I really appreciate it. I love serving you. I've enjoyed this journey at the highest level. I enjoy engaging all of you in good questions today. And again, I think the theme here is that no matter who you are, you have a specific thing that you think is important. And I think today, obviously, it was paratransit. Okay? And I valued that at the highest level. But at the same time, citizens of Sioux Falls, remember, if somebody really, really values it, others are thinking, well, I don't use that. I'm not paying for that, or I don't want to pay for that. And we can't do that. As a society, we got to look out for all of the needs that we have as a city, and then try to prioritize those dollars as best we can, and that's what we're trying to do. So Sunnycrest, again, thank you for inviting me back. Really appreciate it, and make it a great day, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Jude.